When it comes to the future, California has always been ahead of its time, leading the way with job creation for industries that would change the world economy, right? From Hollywood to aerospace to Silicon Valley, Governor Brown and many others say green energy is California's next big wave. Hi, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Espinosa.
And I'm Rick Reef. Well, as you know, Elizabeth, there are many others, including a lot of Southern California business people who don't believe the state's ahead of the game this time around. They say California's tough environmental laws, which, by the way, are about to get tougher, and high costs are driving out good-paying blue-collar jobs, especially here in the Southland.
While other states drill for gas and create manufacturing jobs at several times our rate, they claim California is on a misguided mission to save the planet. So will California get green by going green?
Well, we're about to find out. And first up, Studio SoCal's David Nazar joins us with an example of how the fight over energy and the environment is being waged right here in our own backyard.
Hi, David.
Hey, guys. And by the way, that fight is taking place in Culver City, Rick and Elizabeth. And the mayor there, well, she's on a personal crusade to ensure that oil drilling and hydraulic fracturing, or fracking as it's known, will not cause irreparable harm to her community. Now, there could be cause for concern when you see what's out there. However, according to the oil industry, that concern is completely unfounded. Now, we hear from both sides of this very heated debate. Culver City, it's a community of about 40,000 people halfway between downtown Los Angeles and the Santa Monica Pier. The city is kind of a miniature Hollywood. It was founded on the movie industry in the early 1900s, beginning with the famous Culver Studios. Then MGM built a studio in Culver City, which is now Sony Pictures. Well, there's another iconic landmark sitting out here that isn't getting much fan mail these days. It's the 90-year-old Inglewood oil field with about 1,500 wells scattered between Culver City and Baldwin Hills in LA County. No doubt if you've ever driven the old La Cienega Highway from the west side to LAX over the years, you've seen these wells at work constantly drilling for oil. 10% of the oil field is located in Culver City, and Mayor Megan Sally Wells says that if these oil wells are not monitored, it could prove catastrophic for her community. Even more importantly, the Culver City mayor says many of her residents want to see the oil drilling stopped altogether.
There are 1 million people who live within a 5-square-mile radius of this oil field. So it's not like drilling out in the open countryside. We're drilling on 3 separate fault lines. These are active faults. So my residents are concerned about a host of things.
Things like, are pollutants harming the water and air in Culver City? What about noise pollution and the future potential for gas leaks, chemical spills, and well explosions? Or what happens during an earthquake along the Inglewood Fault? The mayor claims there has been fracking here in the past, and she's concerned it will start again without proper safety studies by the feds, the state, or the county.
The question is this: we don't know all of the risks, and we need to know what they are before we go ahead with these type of techniques.
I want to show you why many folks are frustrated with the oil wells out here. Take a walk with me. The Inglewood oil field is the largest urban oil field in the entire United States. I mean, there is really nothing like it in the country. Look over there. See the way the homes are situated on the hill? Now take a look at these oil wells. I mean, they are virtually in the backyards of these homes. I mean, it's really kind of weird to see them out here. And what's more, these oil wells are also just steps away from places like schools and sports fields and parks.
We had 2 significant oil releases in 2006. In January, there was a toxic release where they had this huge pocket of methane that blew out. Then, a month later, there was another cloud of toxic fumes. Again, people complained. In 2013, 2011, there were fires on the field. There have been multiple spills. What are our regulators doing in the state and the county who are supposed to be protecting our residents?
Of course, there are 2 sides to this story. Freeport-McMoRan is the oil and mining company which owns the oil field. The company told Studio SoCal it had done several studies in the past, and their findings show there were no negative impacts to the Culver City residents or the environment. Dave Quast is the California Director for Energy in Depth, a campaign to educate Californians about oil and gas. His organization is part of the California Independent Petroleum Association, and Quast speaks on behalf of the oil companies.
Oil drilling is safer today than it's ever been because we have more understanding of the process and we have better technology. And we do have stricter regulations. The mayor, quite simply, is objectively wrong. There is no hydraulic fracturing going on here at Inglewood or anywhere in the city of Los Angeles at the moment. But that's not to say that if there was, that it wouldn't be safe and it wouldn't be heavily regulated. The Department of Conservation has just finished writing its draft rules to implement SB4, which are the strictest hydraulic fracturing regulations in the country. Those regulations are going to go into effect on July 1st, and there have been emergency regulations up to now.
Quast also points out that the Inglewood oil field is a huge economic boon to Los Angeles.
The oil field's generated almost 400 million barrels of oil since it was founded back in the early 1920s, which really coincided with the growth of Los Angeles as a world city. And it remains a really critical part of the city's not only employment infrastructure, but tax base, and a real critical part of the economy of really all of Southern California.
At the end of the day, this is creating a culture of mistrust, where you're getting different messages from different people, and you don't know who to believe.
Now, Dave Quast, who you just saw in this story, isn't the only one telling the mayor there's no fracking going on. The LA County Department of Regional Planning sent Culver City this letter back in November 2013 that says, in part, quote, hydraulic fracking is not currently taking place at the Inglewood oil field, and furthermore, the department has not authorized any wells to be hydraulically fracked at the field. And then again in November of 2014, in this other letter I have here, the county restated that same message. No fracking.